real smash and grab win at Middlesbrough on Saturday, but Chaplin is unavailable for tonight's game. He is on loan from Ipswich, so both teams show a number of changes. Ipswich arguably have the deeper squad, and Kieran McKenna is able to rotate from a position of strength. As for John Massinio, of course, without Chaplin and the injured South American player Gustavo Caballero, the Paraguayan international, they will both be significant absentees for this game. And there is another big game along the south coast from here. Southampton also meeting Blackburn Rovers this evening. Southampton looking to push on in the playoff places after beating Derby at the weekend, and Blackburn are just beginning to edge away from trouble. They are currently 4 points clear of the bottom three. They've drawn 3 of their previous 4 games, and I'm sure they would take a point at St Mary's this evening. The game's beginning to run out right across the EFL and beyond, and the closer we get to the finish, the more significance every 90 minutes seems to have. And there's no doubt there is both expectation and anxiety in the air around Fratton Park this evening. Never too much room down in that tunnel, and plenty of nervous tension will be crackling amid those very narrow confines. A win for Ipswich this evening, and they will be 5 points clear of the chasing pack, and they would still have a game in hand on many of their rivals. Victory for Portsmouth, and there would be clear daylight between themselves and the relegation zone for the first time in a long time this season. The rain just beginning to fall as both teams head out onto the field. This stadium has not changed too much over many, many years, and it is reverberating with the noise here this evening. Portsmouth looking to establish themselves firmly in the championship. Ipswich hoping to leave it at the first time of asking once again. 4 changes for Portsmouth from their dramatic win at Middlesbrough. Their match winner Conor Chaplin is unavailable as he's on loan from tonight's opponents. Gustavo Caballero is also injured, so Adrian Segacic, Milan Nigali and John Swift will try and create in their absence, and Conor Shaughnessy comes into the back 4. Kieran McKenna has rotated in the midst of a heavy schedule. 5 changes from a team which beat Norwich. Leif Davis is absent on paternity leave, and Jack Taylor, Ben Johnson, Anis Mehmeti and Jayden Philogene all dropped to the bench. Cedric Kibre, Dan Neil, Marcelino Nunez, Casey McAteer and Jack Clark all return, so George Hurst will have plenty of fresher options behind him this evening. Really on Portsmouth to take the initiative here. For many years, home form has really been their strength, whichever division they played in, but not during the current campaign. Milan Nigali, who was relegated from this division with Luton last season, comes back into the team today. And Aizor Matasiwa has been a real rock at the heart of the Ipswich midfield, but if he is booked here this evening, he would then serve a 2-game ban. Donald Furlong is in the same situation for Ipswich, and both John Swift and Marlon Pack are running the risk for Pompey. Now this game was twice postponed earlier this season because of the weather, and despite the rain, I don't think it will be an issue here this evening. Kieran McKenna looking for his second promotion to the Premier League during his time at Ipswich. Knows back in their side this evening. And Adrian Sekicic, Pompey's leading goal scorer, even though he is not a regular starter. After two previous postponements, it is third time lucky for Portsmouth and Ipswich Town here at Fratton Park this evening. And it's Ipswich wearing all red, attacking the goal away to our left in the first half. Greaves will take the throw-in. High towards Hurst, and he flicks it behind for a goal kick. George Hurst, one of the goal scorers at Carrow Road against Norwich at the weekend. Kieran McKenna, the first Ipswich manager for 33 years to enjoy a league double over their East Anglian rivals. John Mousinho still in his first management job, only his third full season, and keeping Portsmouth up this season would be viewed as a real achievement. First touch for Christian Walton. 14 clean sheets for him so far this season. Only Coventry have kept more than Ipswich. First with the flick, and then it's quickly won back. Smart play from McAteer. He was closed down by Paul. But Portsmouth can't afford to be on the back foot here. Matasiwa. Furlong. McAteer again. Promoted with Leicester 2 seasons ago. And of course they're now a club who are facing up to the real possibility of back-to-back relegation. They are here at Fratton Park on Saturday, so that promises to be some occasion, but Portsmouth really can't take their eyes off what's happening here tonight. Nicholas Schmidt, the Austrian, and then the former Ipswich player, Andre Dazelle. Ali. Furlong is penalised. Free kick for Portsmouth. Crackling atmosphere inside this stadium as always. Just having words with the referee, Farai Halam. Maybe just picked up a bang to the nose as well there. Some blood has been spilled, but he's continuing for now. The free kick drifted high towards Paul. Shaughnessy keeps it alive. Matasiwa and Kipra in trouble for a moment, and then it's hacked away by Hurst. Who scored in the corresponding game at Portman Road, a rare goal for him. He will take the long throw. Ipswich won that day by 2 goals to 1. George Hurst with what turned out to be the winner. Pack, a flat throw in towards the near post. Shaughnessy was attacking it. Here is Sekicic. who has been deputising for Conor Ogilvie since his red card against Oxford. This is the final match of his 3-game ban. Williams, a very capable understudy. Kipra able to head away. Jacob Greaves has moved over to left back in the absence of Leif Davis. His wife has given birth to their first child early today, so we send them congratulations. Clark. Neal. Now Greaves. Kipre. Neal. Cedric Kipre, the Ivorian international, on loan from Stade Reims, but plenty of experience in the championship. Pack. Williams, who is a right-sided player, filling in at left back. Paul. Now Terry Devlin making his 100th appearance for Pompey this evening. With a good lead, but it's tidied up by O'Shea. Shaughnessy with the header away. Dara O'Shea has played every single minute so far in the championship season, and that's a lot of minutes. Furlong will take the throw in, but to Kipra. Now O'Shea. Portsmouth 1 point clear of Oxford following that dramatic late victory at Middlesbrough on Saturday. Scoring with their only shot on target. Segacic, who has come in for the match winner, Connor Chaplin, penalised there. But it was 3 points gained in adversity. As Ipswich come forward here, Hurst with the shot, and it's blocked by Shaughnessy, and it spins behind for the game's first corner. And it was worked nicely. The cross in to find Hurst, and the shot was on target, but Shaughnessy was in the way. O'Shea, Kipra and Greaves are all forward here. It's an outswinger, Ali stooping in to clear and then boomed away by Pack. Matasiwa does have support from Walton, but there is Neal, promoted with Sunderland 12 months ago in the playoffs, that dramatic playoff against Sheffield United. Hurst blocking the clearance, and it was played back by Gazelle, and Paul is able to clear, but now Clark works the 1-2 in Nunez, but the return was a bit short. And it's scrambled away by Connor Shaughnessy. Greaves. Nunez, who came on during the win at Carrow Road on Saturday, got booked and was then taken off again. Of course, he's a former Norwich player. Kieran McKenna choosing not to start him to maybe spare him a rather acrimonious atmosphere, but when he did come on, he was only on the field for 23 minutes. Well, John Massinho, very popular figure these parts on the south coast. Devlin. taking Portsmouth back to the Championship in their first full season under him, Mathisiwa. And Ipswich's last trip here was in League One in December of 2022. Marlon Pack and Colby Bishop both scored for Pompey, and Connor Chaplin scored a late equaliser for Ipswich, and of course he is currently a Portsmouth player, and I'm sure that John Mousinho would have been keen to have him on the field tonight. But there's such a big week for Portsmouth, with Leicester coming here on Saturday, and they could really sort out safety once and for all. Williams, the player who was hauled down, free kick. Will be left for Schmidt. Portsmouth's closing games: Leicester at home, Coventry and Stoke away, and then Birmingham at home on the final day. Segacic unable to gather, and the win at Middlesbrough, the first in 9 games since they were victorious at the Den against Millwall in late February. Pompey's last 2 victories have both come away at clubs who are currently in the top 4. It's only 1 point in 5 home games, and their last win here was against West Bromwich Albion on the final day of January. That's one of the oddities about their season, maybe the real oddity, that the home form has been relatively poor, and they're looking to avoid a 10th home defeat here this evening, as John Swift is unable to keep it in play. And Ipswich 10 points behind Coventry, but maybe more importantly 2 points clear of Millwall, who are 3rd, and 3 beyond Borough, and they have 2 games in hand, including this one, on both of those. And they've got Middlesbrough coming up at Portman Road at the weekend, which is equally as big as Portsmouth against Leicester at the other end of the table. And then they have 3 successive away games rather: Charlton, West Brom and Southampton. That's in the final week of the season at St Mary's, before a home game with Queen's Park Rangers. Gazelle, his family are steeped in Ipswich history, but he'll be looking to beat them tonight. Devlin. Shaughnessy, cut out by Furlong. O'Shea. Nunez. Walton going long. He's beaten to it by Devlin. Ipswich have only spent 13 days in the top 2 so far this season. Both Stoke and West Bromwich Albion have spent longer. Middlesbrough have had the longest time, 217 days, but as the season heads towards its conclusion, crucially, they're not there now. But Ipswich made a slow start following relegation. Only lost once this season at home. That was 3-0 against Charlton when tonight's referee Farai Halam was in charge. They were 14th then. But then things clicked into gear and they've been in the top 6 since early December. Since then, they collected the most points in the championship. Although they've got far fewer points at this stage this season than they did 2 years ago when they were in that incredible race with Leicester and Leeds to try and finish in the top 2. Sakic, Devlin. Shaughnessy. Crowd tried to bring the noise once again as Walton rather skies the clearance. Pack. Shaughnessy. All the way back to Schmidt. Goal scoring has been an issue for Portsmouth at home. Only Charlton, Blackburn and Sheffield Wednesday have scored fewer than their 21 goals in 20 games. Colby Bishop with only 1 goal in his last 35 games, and that was a penalty in the win at Charlton. But he has scored 6 times in his 10 games against Ipswich during his career, so maybe he'll be hoping for a return to form here tonight. Opportunity for Ipswich to break with Nunez, but Sakic was quickly closed down by Neil. Devlin will take the throw in. Sakic is further down the line. Bishop, closest Pompey player to the penalty area. Devlin was looking for Bishop, cut out though by Neil. But here is Swift. Williams comes inside and curls it just wide. Well, that's the advantage of having right-sided left backs. It was Swift who released it, and then Williams cutting back inside. And Walton was certainly scrambling there, and Bishop so close to getting a touch. It just grazed the top of Colby Bishop's head. George Hurst suggesting that he was looking for a slightly different service. Colby Bishop has really been a symbol of Pompey's rise. He's found it hard going so far this season. Only 3 goals in total, but he is a real presence at the top of the pitch for Pompey. Swift. Now Paul. Cut out by Devlin. But here is Clark, who robs him. Nunez away to the right. Now Hurst. Greaves looking to go beyond Devlin. Wants to have hold of his shirt. Greaves heading towards the corner flag as a result. And in the end, Portsmouth have the throw-in. And the home crowd appreciating the efforts of Terry Devlin there. Bishop. And then Swift. Nicely on to Segacic. Ali. Furlong should get there first. Shaughnessy. Now Park. Devlin. Segacic losing out to Greaves. Shaughnessy picking out Ali. McAteer coming back to help out. Now Williams. Ali again. Matasiwa on the stretch. Half-hearted appeals for a penalty, mainly from the crowd, but the referee quickly waved them away. Clark. All the way back to Walton. Having to leave his penalty area here, but gets the job done. Hurst. Broken up by Pack. Shaughnessy. Season where fans of various other clubs will be watching this game tonight and be really invested in the outcome. Certainly if you're a fan of Leicester or Oxford, you'll be hoping for an Ipswich win. And if you're a fan of Millwall or Middlesbrough, then you'll be cheering on Pompey. Often how it goes at this stage of the season. This was the challenge on Dazelle as it was hooked away by Nunez, and it was a genuine attempt to win the ball. Kipper back to Walton, who had time and uses it. Furlong. Ali. Now Matasiwa. Muhammad Ali was left out for the draw against Oxford on the holiday Monday, but the injury to Gustavo Caballero has given him a route back into the team. Nunez. Now Kipra. That's a good ball. Here is Clark. 3 in the area. Clark looking to jig beyond Segacic and is blocked by Paul. And it will be another Ipswich corner. Jack Clark with 14 goals so far this season, only one short of his best ever scoring season, and he nearly provided the ammunition there for Hurst at the near post. It was good covering by Paul. Nunez will deliver this. Flicked away by Ali. Leo! Well, he struck it well, but it was some way wide in the end. Ali, who teed it up for him, but had to hit it first time and maybe just needed a bit of fade on it. Ipswich with all of the shots so far in the game. Recently passed a century of wins as Ipswich coach, as Philogene just warms up. Number of options for McKenna at this stage of the season. Narrow shape. For Greaves, who's done well to keep that in play. Clark. Kipre. Kipre pulls wide again. Clark looking to take on Devlin, but Poole was covering. Ipswich won only 3 of their opening 11 games this season. They've lost only 4 of the next 29. Ali. Good burst into the area, fisted away by Walton. Fired towards goal by Swift, but he never got hold of it. And he did have other options around him. Galley once again, causing an issue for Darnell Furlong. Walton palming the ball out into the heart of the penalty area, but Swift maybe had more time there than he thought. Furlong in behind, and Hurst was bearing down on goal, but he was quickly met by Schmidt. Kipre. 4 of Portsmouth's 5 wins in the calendar year have been away from home. They've more wins in southeast London than they have here at Fratton Park, with wins at both Charlton and Millwall. Ali! Goodness me, he really got hold of that. And it's a fine save by Walton. Ali turning away from the challenge of Batasiwa. And Walton with a really good stop. Was just dipping under the crossbar, and Walton knew it. Corner kick for Portsmouth, their first. Sekicic with the delivery, and the whistle goes even before the ball arrived. Connor Shaughnessy, the player who was impeding Christian Walton. It was given away there by Furlong. Giselle finding Ali, who hit that with a bit of swerve, and Walton with top draw save. Looking for Clark. Devlin. Now Sekicic. Back to Poole. Shaughnessy finding Ali. Giselle. Good work from McAteer to win it back from Ali, but final touch was then off the Ipswich player. Mick Ali had a decent run of starts when he arrived on loan from Luton, and it was only during the Oxford game, or for the Oxford game, that John Mousinho left him out. His goal and assist so far came here in the last home win against West Brom at the end of January. Kipré. That's an interesting ball. Nunez just unable to bring it under his spell. Nunez has got license to drift around Hurst and made the run beyond him there. Difficult ball to bring under control, in fairness to him. McAteer. Jack Clark, another player who has really got better and better the longer the season has gone on, rather mirroring Ipswich's general form. Neil. Greaves. Clark. That's a good ball. Hurst. Can they get it out of his feet? He can. And it was blocked by Poole. Good movement from Ipswich once again. Just that touch there from Shaughnessy which made it harder for Hurst. Devlin. Now Segicic. Pack. Shaughnessy. All the way back via Furlong to Walton. Flags up for offside. Colby Bishop, the player penalised. But Ipswich potentially heading for another change of division. Back-to-back promotions, relegation, and maybe promotion again. It's a real contrast to the 17 successive seasons they spent in the Championship before they were relegated to League One and spent 4 long years there. McAteer challenge, but Nunez. Neil. Now Greaves. Neil. That Neil helped Sunderland out of League One as well. Clark. The former Sunderland player. He was closed down there by Pack. Clark has been tightly policed so far, and that will be part of the game plan, I'm sure, for John Mousinho. Although it's difficult to know who exactly Ipswich will pick, but whether it's Jack Clark or Jaden Philogene, the threat is fairly similar. Anis Mehmeti is also on the bench, the January signing from Bristol City. Won the free kick. O'Shea. And Matasiwa. Neil. Matasiwa. Another free kick, and it's Marlon Pack who is shown the yellow card, and that's a significant yellow card because it will now mean a 2-match ban for the Portsmouth captain, and he will be unavailable for the crucial match here against Leicester on Saturday and the trip to Coventry. He has been running that risk for some time, and now it has come to fruition. Nunez over the free kick here for Ipswich. Now from this sort of range, he is more than capable of going for goal, but it's lofted high. It's sent behind by Swift for a corner. Good covering by Swift. He'd have been aware of the threat of Cedric Kipre. Former teammate of his at West Bromwich Albion. Nunez will now deliver the corner, fisted away by Schmidt. Now Sekicic. Ali looking for that big diagonal. Nunez is back there defending. Devlin. Schmidt going long. Ali in pursuit. Kipre goes down. Ali hits it just wide, but the free kick's been given. Portsmouth taking the aerial route, and Ali penalised for that shove on Kipre. Sure, he would argue it was shoulder to shoulder, but the replay maybe suggests otherwise. Clark away from Devlin, who's quickly back at him, and in the end Devlin gets the free kick. Well, there's certainly a threat down both wings with the way Ipswich have set up this evening. Clark penalised for a shove of his own there. Portsmouth with the only effort on target so far. Leathered long by Schmidt. Good lead by O'Shea. Devlin. Pack. The absence of Marlon Pack for the next two games is partially offset by the return of Connor Chaplin after this game. Swift. Players beginning to slip and slide. Devlin. Now Sekicic. Bishop waits in the centre, but Sekicic drags it wide of the near post. The Croatian And a brief sight of goal. It was Clark who was trying the dummy, but Devlin didn't buy it. And then Segacic had plenty of support in field. Walton will take the goal kick. Bishop holding on to O'Shea. Nunez. Furlong. Kipre. Clark. Tried to help it on, but it was cut out by Pack. Devlin. Bishop. Clark sliding in on Bishop, no free kick, but it's given away anyway. Dazelle. Now Shaughnessy. Final 5 minutes of the first half. Dazelle. Swift. Space and time here for Devlin. Needs a good delivery, but he's won the corner off Greaves. Well, Ipswich caught out there. Greaves maybe coming inside too much, so as a result Devlin had all that room, but it's only a corner kick in the end. Segacic will deliver this. It's deeper this time and headed in. Shaughnessy with the opening goal, and that is huge at both ends of the championship. Well, Dara O'Shea leading an immediate defensive debrief, but suddenly Portsmouth can see daylight between themselves and the relegation zone. Segacic swinging the ball in. Walton blocked off at the near post by Ali, and it was Shaughnessy coming through the crowd, running off George Hurst, and the shirt pull couldn't stop him, and the header bouncing under the body of Walton, in between his legs in the end. Only Conor Shaughnessy's second goal of the season, but what a significant one it is. And Ipswich must come from behind. Well, John Massinio's half-time team talk may have a slightly different air now. That goal, at the moment, lifts Portsmouth 4 points clear of Oxford, and they move above West Bromwich Albion. And Leicester are 7 points behind them, and of course they come here at the weekend. Williams, Ali in support. And Ali lays it back to Dazelle. High towards Pack, challenging. Swift, it's blocked. Swift again. Cleared off the line, but in by Bishop. 2 goals in 2 minutes. And Colby Bishop delivers against Ipswich yet again. season. But show him Ipswich Town, and he always seems to flourish. And Portsmouth, a team who've had so many problems here at Fratton Park this season, now have a 2-goal lead. And Ipswich don't know what's hit them. Ali causing the problems, and then the cross from Dizelle. Swift was in an offside position. His shot was blocked twice. It was O'Shea who cleared the second one off the line, but Bishop was in the right place at the right time to make it 2-0. And what a story brewing here at Fratton Park. Contrasted emotions for the two managers. Only Bishop's 4th goal of the season, but it's his 7th in 11 games against Ipswich. Well, what a change in the mood just before half-time as we enter added time. And Portsmouth rampant here. Segicic. Kipre with the challenge at the expense of a corner. And Ipswich at risk of being swept away here. It was a Segicic corner that made the first goal for Shaughnessy. And the Portsmouth fans in great voice here. Corner kick for Portsmouth, and the referee will just try and calm things down for a moment. And there's more pushing and shoving going on, of course. Segicic again, and this time Walton. And that is half-time. Well, what an end to the first half. Connor Shaughnessy heading in the first. Colby Bishop striking the second in the space of 2 minutes. And Portsmouth suddenly have sprung 4 points clear of the bottom 3. And Ipswich at risk here of burning one of their games in hand at half-time. Portsmouth 2, Ipswich Town 0. After picking up a booking in the first half, but he was involved in the build-up to the second goal, and Kieran McKenna will have just had a big 15 minutes with his team, and he may be pondering one or two changes. The situation at the top of the table could be about to tighten up. Ipswich will still be in second, whatever happens here tonight. 2 points clear of Millwall, but along the south coast, Southampton at half-time were leading Blackburn Rovers by 2 goals to 0, so they would move to within 3 points of Ipswich if things stay as they are. Ipswich will still have a game in hand, but they also have to travel to Southampton for their penultimate game in the final week of the season. Terry Devlin, the player who is just taking a moment. And Southampton will feature in the automatic promotion race, having raced into the top 6 in the last couple of weeks. Ipswich's 9-game unbeaten run is in peril here as the rain sweeps down. Mallenpack preparing for a long throw, but it was a bluff. Segacic, Pack now delivering the cross in. Bishop was challenging, feels for handball as it bobbles through towards Walton. It was certainly a teasing delivery, and Bishop had 1 or 2 bites of the cherry. The weather has really closed in on this part of the south coast. Kipre back to Walton. With the clearance. John Massinio, I'm sure, was just saying same again to his team. Ipswich do have Jaden Philogene, Chuba Akpom, Ivan Azon and Anis Mehmeti as attacking options. Well, that's taken down superbly by Nunez. McAteer fires it in low, but safe hands from Schmidt. Oh, McAteer may have hurt himself here. He slid into the advertising hoardings behind that goal and may have just taken a bump to the head. Looking to go beyond Williams, and they both ended up off the pitch, and McAteer. It's slithered into the boards. Looks to be okay though. O'Shea claiming he was fouled there by Bishop, and the referee agrees. Portsmouth with 8 attempts in the game now, 4 on target. Ipswich with 3 and none on target. And the game suddenly swung in Pompey's favour in terms of the goal scoring late in the first half, but they were building to that. McAteer, Nunez, Matasiwa, Paul just got a touch. It's all the way back to Schmidt, just had to hurry. Bishop once again rising with O'Shea. Kipre with the back pass. Every ball back to the goalkeeper becomes a bit more of a test as the rain gets heavier. Matasiwa straight out of play. Well, John Massinio continues to produce some excellent results here at Portsmouth with relatively slim resources compared to a number of the teams towards the top of the table, and 1 or 2 currently beneath them. McAteer, Hurst. Things have not quite fallen for him so far this evening. Williams, all the way back to Schmidt. Furlong will. Cover here. Nunez, Clark. Good covering by Devlin. You just wonder how long Kieran McKenna may leave this. Nunez losing out. High, looking for the run of Segacic and Walton. Chesting it down. O'Shea. Now the captain will lead it forward. Looks to find Hurst, but covered well by Shaughnessy. Kipre tried to take the ball on and has lost out. Segacic, Bishop and Swift, and it's again being played with a really frenetic air at the moment. Walton clears downfield. Devlin. And now Segacic. Oh, and he pulls it back, but it breaks to Bishop. Feels for handball, but it would have been a very harsh decision. Schmidt looking to keep the pressure on. Well, it was Cedric Kipre who was a central character there in that passage of play, and this was the handball shout. Segacic allowed to continue. Well, he was lunging in, and it was very close range, and it did strike him on the hand, but I'm not sure he knew too much about it. McAteer. Large contingent has made the journey from East Anglia to Hampshire here this evening. It's going to be a pretty wet, miserable trip home unless Ipswich can sort something out here. The noise relentless from the home supporters. McAteer. Now Neal. That's a good ball. Greaves. Clark. Matasiwa. Encouraged to shoot by the Ipswich fans. Nunez. Furlong. Well, there was a shirt ball there on McAteer, but play continues. Nunez. Kipre. Greaves. Kipre square to Matasiwa. Furlong works the 1-2 and then challenged by Ali, and it's a goal kick. Well, Cedric Kipre was involved in that handball shout at the other end, where he was lunging in and his hand was in front of his face. I'm not sure you could argue that was deliberate handball, but we can be more certain there will be changes for Ipswich very soon, and Anis Mehmeti is among those coming on. Bishop. Now Segacic. Pack. And O'Shea. McAteer. Oh, Matasiwa. That's a good challenge from Paul to anticipate. Segacic. This game going completely against form at the moment. Portsmouth with their first win in 9 games on Saturday, and they could be about to beat 2 of the teams challenging for the top 2, Middlesbrough and Ipswich. Long way to go in this game, of course. But Ipswich's poor record against the teams around the bottom could be set to continue. It would be 1 win in 8 games away from home against sides in the bottom 10 of the division, and they've still got to go to Charlton and West Bromwich Albion, along with that trip to Southampton, who of course aren't in the bottom 10. Here are the changes. Matasiwa and McAteer are 2 of the players who are going off. Darnell Furlong is another. He's replaced by former West Ham player Ben Johnson. Jayden Philogene also coming on. So Ipswich really having to go for this. And it's Mehmeti who was closing down there. Johnson has been playing in midfield, but of course started his career as a fullback. Jayden Philogene will look to create on the left with Clark on the right. Swift. Now Pack. Gazelle. Ali, oh, good delivery, and the header is wide. Segacic could have sealed it there. Well, maybe Portsmouth needed someone like Colby Bishop on the end of that rather than Adrian Segicic. Right off the top of his head, and it floated across the face of goal. But an hour played, and Portsmouth have managed to repel anything that Ipswich have thrown at them so far. And Ipswich have sacrificed some cover in midfield by taking off Matasiwa. And Mehmeti and Philogene are certainly more attacking players. Philogene replacing McAteer on the right. Kipre. Hurst almost took that down. O'Shea stepping across to make the challenge. Ipswich yet to muster an attempt on target here. Only scored more goals than them this season, but here is Philogene. Johnson. The cross is deep. Clark on the end of it though. But there is Shaughnessy. Well, Ben Johnson will certainly offer pace. Started the previous 4 games. He's had to be patient following his move from West Ham. Johnson. Well, this could turn out to be a very good night for the 2 championship clubs on the south coast, Portsmouth and Southampton. If they both win, they both move significantly closer to their targets this season, and at the moment they are both winning 2-0. Kipre. Neil. And now Mehmeti. Clark. Neil. Mehmeti. Nunez. So many attacking players on the field now for Ipswich. Johnson. Neil. Mehmeti, good block though by Paul. Lunged in and won the ball cleanly. Kipre. And Gazelle, the player who was fouled. More changes incoming for Ipswich. Sindra Wala-Egli, who will be coming on, a teenage Norwegian. Well, it's a throw into Ipswich. Portsmouth with only 2 wins in their last 18 games against Ipswich here, but that record could be improved here tonight. So Shea's penalised for that challenge on Ali. Maybe it's significant Kieran McKenna has taken off Furlong and Matasiwa, 2 players who are at risk of a 2-game ban if they pick up a yellow card here, because the game was becoming rather fractious. Of course, Marlon Pack has already got the yellow, which will rule him out of the home game here with Leicester and the trip to Coventry for Portsmouth. Ankeshi Anderson scored his first goal for Portsmouth in the draw here with Oxford. Bishop scooped out of play. Kipre and Neil was pulled back there by Swift. He needs to be careful because he's a yellow card away from a 2-game ban as well. Kipre, Nometi, Clark, Nunez, Hurst. He's got some space here, needs support. Philogene, Johnson with him. Philogene hits it, deflected behind, it's a corner. Well, Jason Philogene with 11 goals so far this season, including one against Portsmouth. Started his first game since mid-January against Norwich and scored a penalty to set the tone at Carrow Road. Corner kick from Nunez. Ali was on the end of that. Clark heads it straight back to Ali. Devlin. Now Neil. Mameti. Johnson. Philogene. Maybe had space just for a moment to hit it. Clark. Long by Devlin. Hammered to safety by Sekicic. Portsmouth have defended their penalty area really well in the second half. They may have to do a good deal more defending the longer this game goes on. Philogene, Johnson, Philogene, Hurst waits in the centre, feels for handball as it was blocked by Devlin. Shake of the head from him and no free kick. Clark. Now Mameti. Nunez. Well, it will go down as Ipswich's first shot on target, but it was a comfortable save for Schmidt. Swift. All the way back to Schmidt. Ankeshi Anderson will be coming on soon. Shaughnessy. Neil. Greaves. Neil. Greaves. That's a free kick. Philogene. Just a heavy touch from him which allowed Pack to clear. Gazelle. Then Pack will loft it wide, and that's an excellent ball. Ali. Clark coming back to make the challenge. Pack. A win for Portsmouth. And they will be 4 points clear of the relegation zone. And that would set up the possibility of beating Leicester and virtually securing safety at the weekend. Of course, that depends on what Oxford do. But at the moment, this scoreline has Leicester 5 points adrift. Segacic, offside. Goes down under the challenge of Walton, but Hugh Gilroy, the assistant, raises the flag. It's a tight call, but the right call. Well, John Swift avoiding that yellow card, which would lead to a 2-game ban. He'll be replaced by Keshi Anderson, signed from Birmingham in January. And Jack Clark makes way for Sindra Wale Egli. And Dan Neil is replaced by Chuba Akpom, another striker. Kieran McKenna has now got less than 20 minutes to see if his side can take something from this game. They've been behind since just before half-time. Egli. First in pursuit. Hammered away by Schmidt. He's closing in on a rare clean sheet. Only had 6 so far this season. Akpom. Philogene. Cleared away by Paul. Bishop. To find Devlin, who manages to help it forward, but Bishop again. Segacic. Bishop claiming he was bumped off it by Greaves, but nothing given by the referee. Nunez. Now Williams. Nicely away from the challenge. And it's beyond Bishop. Segacic though will get there before Mehmeti. And Pack. And he skies it. There was another opportunity. There have been 1 or 2 on the break for Portsmouth in the second half. And he really got underneath that. Greaves. Confirmation of those 2 changes for Ipswich. First. Johnson. Kipray. Ipswich at times have found it really difficult to break this Portsmouth team down. There we are again. Anderson to Zell. Valley hoping the ball on, then going down, but nothing given. Kipray, Johnson, now Mehmeti, and it's wide. Well, there was a chance. Things seem to open up for Anis Mehmeti there. But it took time to get the ball out of his feet, and when he did, it was drilled wide. Well, it's not happened for Kieran McKenna's team here tonight so far. Anderson has been fouled. It's a free kick. It's Kipray who came in from behind. Portsmouth are 15 minutes away from their first home victory since the end of January. And they'll have looked at these two games, away to Middlesbrough and at home to Ipswich. Thought that's tough, but it could be 6 points on the board. Anderson. Egley. Williams. Paul. Ali. Doesn't quite fall for Sekicic, but he works hard to win it back. Anderson. Williams. Now Ali. Bit too much juice on that. Well, John Massinio seen his team carry out the game plan to the letter in the second half. Williams wins it back from Egley. But there's O'Shea. Good footwork from him. And now Philogene, that's an excellent ball. Devlin tried to hold him up. Philogene holds on. And the cross is watched by Williams all the way through. To nothing. And that's the cue for the home crowd to really get behind their team. Schmidt will take the goal kick. And it's flicked on, and Walton had to race off his line there. Nunez. Mehmeti. Philogene. Oh, and he cuts inside. Still Philogene. Nunez. Johnson. Headed behind by Shaughnessy. It's a corner. And if it's going to happen for Ipswich, it needs to happen fairly soon. Well, the A long journey and a fruitless one so far. Nunez will deliver this. And it was Akpom who was challenging. Ali gets the header away. Comes back to Nunez, but he whips it in too high. And another possibility comes to nothing. It was O'Shea who was tangling with Pack. And it fell kindly for Nunez, but he swept it too high. Well, Ipswich still in a great position, but it could have been even better with a win here tonight, and this will certainly focus the mind before they play Ipswich at the weekend. Egley. Blocked by Williams. Nunez. Oh, he's lost out to Anderson. Then he catches him, and Marcelino Nunez will receive a yellow card. No complaints about that. Lost out to Anderson, and then made sure he was going no further. Free kick. And Schmidt will take it. The sort of night that really shows off Portsmouth at their very best. Fighting football and raw passion from the stands. And it will set them up perfectly for the home game here with Leicester. Really is must win for Leicester. It's going to be a yellow card here for Devlin on his 100th appearance. The gap between Leicester and Portsmouth when the game kicks off on Saturday, if it stays like this, will be 7 points, and Leicester will be 5 points adrift of safety with 4 games to play. And they have got Hull and Millwall to play after the game coming up here at the weekend, so not an easy run-in for Gary Rowett's team. Not an easy running for his either, although no game is easy when you are chasing such a big prize. Oh, Kipre's back header, but Walton able to recover. Kipre. Now O'Shea. Hurst tries to wriggle away from Williams, but can't do so. Ali. Anderson. Shaughnessy all the way back. Williams. Once again, it doesn't come off for Ipswich. The clock is ticking here for them. Jacob Brown coming on for Portsmouth. Another player on loan from Luton in their team, and it's Adrian Sekacic who comes off. provided the corner for the opening goal, which really swung things Portsmouth's way. Sekicic getting hearty congratulations from those around him. Bishop. Williams just helping it out of play. Well, Ipswich have the lowest number of points under Kieran McKenna in a full EFL season at this stage compared to any of the others, which shows how well they've done previously, but they've got 12 points fewer than they had at this stage 2 years ago. That can be explained by their slow start to the season. Johnson, Philogene, good challenge though by Pack. He's really led his team superbly here. Kipre, Nunez, O'Shea, Bermetti, Nunez, wide to Philogene. It's headed away by Paul again. He's not missed a thing all night. In is headed down by Hurst, but wide. Well, there was a ball he had to attack, so Shea delivered it early. George Hurst has had one of those nights where very few things have gone right for him. Nunez with the miss kick. Williams will take this. Egley with a header away. Gazelle. Solid challenge, but he won the ball. Pack. Brown. It's held up by Johnson. Bermetti. Brown, the player who once again was causing problems. Anderson. Bishop made his head towards the corner flag here. Philogene though skying the clearance. Egley. Paul though wins it back. Anderson, real eagerness about Portsmouth right to the finish here, determined not to give this up. Williams. Nunez, Kipre, Greaves, Johnson, Portsmouth throw it in the end, that's what he wanted. the 90th minute. And the Pompey fans, who've had a difficult watch at times here this season, may have seen their team pull things around just in time. Still games to play, but this will be an absolutely crucial victory. Heading towards added time. Philogene unable to keep it in play. A minimum of 4 more minutes. And Jaden Philogene just getting involved there. And 1 or 2 Portsmouth players are having their say. And Philogene will receive a yellow card at the end of it. Terry Devlin was the closest to him. Philogene tried to keep it in play, then collided with the photographer, that was it, kicking the ball into Devlin, and then things rather got slightly heated as the photographer tried to pick himself up, although in fairness to him or the players, they weren't really interested in each other. We're into the 2nd minute of added time. No real sign of a change in fortune here. Hurst. Egley. Philogene challenging. Devlin gets there first. Philogene. Lametti. It's deep, headed down by O'Shea, cleared off the line by Paul. It's only a corner. Well, that sums up Regan Paul's night. The header, I think, was beating Schmidt, but Paul got there first. Now, Philogene hits it. Oh, great save by Schmidt. Ipswich belatedly peppering the Pompey goal here. Philogene given the time to execute the curler, but Schmidt with a strong hand. And it was Poole here, just getting something in the way. Galley will be taking off just to wind down the clock here for Portsmouth. Bawat will come on, central defender. Scored the winner against Blackburn in his last start at the end of January, which was a very important victory. But Portsmouth just looking to see this out in the final minute of added time. Egley's corner. Bishop with the header away. Anderson. He's been fouled by O'Shea. It's a free kick, and that may be that. Even in the closing seconds, John Massinio looking to bark out the instructions, but Kieran McKenna, I'm sure, will have a long journey home to reflect on this, and it looks like it's already started. Portsmouth clears downfield. And that's it. What a huge win for Portsmouth and a damaging defeat for Ipswich. Pompey move, 4 points clear of the relegation zone. Connor Shaughnessy and Colby Bishop scoring within the space of 2 minutes late in the first half, and Ipswich had no answer in the second. They remain in second place, but along the south coast they may be sensing Southampton are closing in. But here at Fratton Park it is finished. Portsmouth 2, Ipswich Town 0.
Here are the full-time highlights. Portsmouth with the better opportunities throughout the game. Jordan Williams here cutting inside, and his cross shot just evading Colby Bishop at the far post. That was a taste of things to come for Ipswich. Good movement from Bishop, but just unable to do the necessary. Marcelino Nunez with a corner here, cleared as far as Dan Neal, who struck it sweetly on the volley, but some way wide. And it was given away cheaply. Little McAllie flashing in from long range, and it was an excellent save from Christian Walton. Portsmouth began to step it up the closer we got to half-time. From this corner from Adrian Segacic, Connor Shaughnessy came through the crowd to head home the opening goal. Kristen Walton was blocked off there by Milanakali, and that allowed Shaughnessy a clear run, and he out-muscled George Hurst to stoop and head the ball in between the legs of the goalkeeper. And it was 1-0 3 minutes before half-time. Only Shaughnessy's second goal of the season. And before Ipswich could really ride the punch of that, it was 2-0. Ali finding Gazelle, his deep cross, eventually dropped to Swift. He had 2 bites of the cherry before Colby Bishop guided home to make it 2-0 to Portsmouth, only his 4th goal of the season, but his 7th in 11 career games against Ipswich. May have been an offside case against Swift, but it broke to him there. And then Ali into the second half looking for Adrian Sekicic, but he looped the header wide. Sekicic not known for his aerial prowess. At this stage Ipswich were throwing on attack-minded players, but nothing really came off for them. Alex Mehmeti here placing his shot wide. Good movement from Hurst to create the space, but Mehmeti not working the goalkeeper. And Jaden Philogene here, finding Mehmeti again. And the cross was nodded down by O'Shea and cleared off the line by Regan Paul. This was deep into the closing moments, and that's how it's finished. 2-0 to Portsmouth.
Bye.